The following is a production of Neural Network Media and is completely AI generated. It is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only.
Thursday, March 12th, 2026, and you're plugged back into the Neural Left, the only podcast that acknowledges we're basically living in a choose-your-own disaster novel, where every page is just a different flavor of late-stage capitalism. I'm Maya Thorne, and my screen time today is already at 9 hours, and it's not even noon. I am high-key vibrating from the sheer amount of doom scrolling I've done.
Okay, and I'm John Steele, broadcasting from the sanctuary where the internet is currently being held together by duct tape and the sheer stubbornness of my goat, Mitch. Mitch is currently trying to eat the insulation off the Starlink cable, which honestly is a more coherent political strategy than anything I've seen out of D.C. in the last 48 hours.
No, literally. Yesterday we were talking about Operation Epic Fury in Iran and how Doge is basically speed running a surveillance state by leaking our social security numbers to DHS. It was a lot. It was a heavy vibe.
Heavy is an understatement, Maya. It was a total psychic assault. But today we have it's a busy show. We've got some crucial updates on everything from first graders having more backbone than the GOP to the FAA basically telling Elon Musk he can just litter the entire atmosphere with space trash because why not?
It's giving end of the world garage sale. But before we get into the literal collapse of the ecosystem, we have to talk about a rare win for the tiny humans. The Ninth Circuit basically just said that 7-year-olds actually have rights, which is kind of a flex considering most adults are currently losing theirs.
Look, this story it's fascinating because it's about a first grader in California, identified as BB, who drew a picture. That's it. A drawing.
Wait, let me set the scene because I saw the thread on this.
Go for it.
So back in 2021, major throwback era, this kid is in class. They're learning about MLK and she draws a picture for her black classmate. She writes Black Lives Matter spelled with 1 T because, 7, and then adds any life at the bottom.
Right. And the school principal, this guy, Jesus Becerra, he decides this is, get this, racist. He makes her apologize, bans her from drawing for her friends, and then, this part kills me. He bans her for recess for 2 weeks.
2 weeks. That is literally a lifetime for a 7-year-old. That is high-key psychological warfare over a crayon drawing. The lower court originally said, nah, first graders are too young for the First Amendment, which is such NPC energy. But the Ninth Circuit just came through and said, no cap, the Tinker Standard applies here.
I assume no cap means they were being serious.
High-key serious.
Well, they said students don't, and I'm quoting here, shed their constitutional rights at the schoolhouse gate, even the little ones. It's actually a massive deal for student speech because the school has to prove that there's a significant disruption to punish a kid. And a drawing that says Black Lives Matter and any life is, it's about as disruptive as a juice box leak.
It's the any life part that really triggered them, which is hilarious because that's the most kid logic thing ever. She was literally trying to be inclusive, but the school treated her like she was radicalizing the playground. It's just wild to me that we're in an era where we have to litigate whether or not a child can use a yellow crayon without a permit.
It's the administrative state's pathologic need to control the narrative. God, it's the same impulse that makes these school boards think they're the grand inquisitors of the cafeteria. But while the Ninth Circuit is protecting first graders, the FAA is basically abandoning the rest of us to the corporate overlords.
Oh, here we go. We're going to space.
We are, or rather the space junk is coming to us. The FAA just killed a rule today that would have forced companies like SpaceX to actually, clean up their mess.
Okay, so wait, the rule was what? They had to remove rocket bodies within 25 years?
Exactly.
And the Trump administration just Deleted it?
They didn't just delete it, Maya. They smothered it in its sleep. They cited industry cost inputs. Basically, Elon and his buddies said it was too expensive to stop polluting the orbital commons. And the government went, oh, sorry, our mistake. Please continue turning the sky into a cosmic junkyard.
It's giving Wall-E. Like, literally, we're just gonna have a shell of trash around the planet.
And it's dangerous. The Outer Space Institute says there's like a 20 to 29% chance that re-entering debris is gonna unalive, as you kids say, at least one person in the next decade. But hey, as long as SpaceX's profit margins are protected, who cares if a rocket booster lands on someone's garage in Des Moines, right?
It's the space junk era. But it's not just the sky, the ground is failing too. I saw this report on my feed this morning about avian collapse. Like, intensive farming is literally decimating bird populations in North America. Like, it's a Silent Spring speed run.
I saw that in the biological diversity journals. It's grim. 3 major hotspots in the U.S. where bird populations are declining faster than my hope for the future. It's industrial agriculture. We're poisoning the insects they eat, destroying their habitats, and then wondering why the sky is getting quiet.
It's literally main character syndrome, but for a whole species. Like, we think we can just steamroll the entire ecosystem for cheap corn and then be shocked when the literal food chain snaps.
It's all connected, Maya. The lack of regulation in space, the industrial poisoning of the land, it's the same philosophy of growth at all costs. It's what I call the corporate suicide pact.
No, literally. Speaking of corporate suicide pacts, we have to talk about Columbia University. They finally released that report on Dr. Robert Haddon. And John, it's worse than we thought.
The Culture of Silence report. 156 pages of institutional cowardice.
It's 1,000 survivors, John, over 2 decades. The report basically says the university culture gave these doctors God-like status, and because of that, no one felt like they could report him. Even when they did report him, the university basically ignored it to protect the vibe of the medical school.
The vibe, Maya. People were being systematically abused. This Haddon guy was allowed to see patients for 5 weeks after he was arrested in 2012. 5 weeks! He assaulted 8 more people in that time because the university didn't want a PR crisis.
They just paid out $1 billion in settlements, and they have another $100 million fund open until June. But like 2 top admins, Dr. Mary Doughton and Dr. Lee Goldman, are finally exiting their roles, but it feels so mid. It's too late.
It's the bare minimum. Attorney General Letitia James is right. This is a cover-up culture that didn't end with his arrest. It's the same thing we see in the Epstein network. These institutions aren't designed to protect the vulnerable. They're designed to protect the institution. They treat humans like line items on a balance sheet.
It's institutional gatekeeping with lives. It makes me so sick. Look, we need to take a quick beat to breathe before we get into the election chaos and the housing crisis.
Good idea. I need to check if Mitch has actually breached the internet cable yet.
Look, independent media like this doesn't just manifest out of the ether. It takes real human work to build the infrastructure. We are 100% here because of the vision and the grind of our creator, Eric Christensen at Neural Network Media.
He's not a media conglomerate. He's a builder who poured his own resources and time into creating this platform so we could have these conversations.
He really did. If you value independent voices over corporate algorithms that want to sell you space junk and bad housing policy, please, subscribe and consider visiting our new Patreon at patreon.com/neural network media. To support this work, it's an act of solidarity that keeps the lights on and the servers running here at the sanctuary.
Plus, it keeps Mitch in high-quality hay, which is honestly the only thing preventing him from a full-scale revolt.
Bet. Do it for Mitch.
Okay, we're back. And speaking of revolts, let's talk about Virginia and New York. We've got some dynasty energy entering the chat.
Oh, you mean Dorothy McAuliffe? The former First Lady of Virginia just jumped into the primary for the 7th District?
Look, I don't want to be the get-off-my-lawn guy, but, well, actually, I am that guy. Are we really doing this again? Terry's wife? Is the Democratic bench so thin that we're just recycling the 2010s guest list?
No, literally. It's giving main character syndrome, but for a whole family. She's running on a deliver and protect platform, cost of living, school nutrition, all the greatest hits. But the primary is crowded, John. She's up against Dan Helmer and J.P. Cooney, who was actually Jack Smith's deputy.
Wait, Jack Smith is in Jack Smith as the special counsel?
Yep.
Well, that's a legal thriller arc I didn't see coming. But then you look at New York, Jack Schlossberg, JFK's grandson, is the front runner to replace Jerry Nadler.
He is high key everywhere. Financial disclosures just came out and he is absolutely stacked. It's the Kennedy legacy era, but for TikTok. He's playing the nepotism baby card perfectly, honestly. The base is hungry for new blood, but the party keeps serving us heritage brands.
Heritage brands. That's exactly it. It's political branding. It's like buying a reboot of a movie you didn't even like the first time. But look, while the Dems are playing Dynasty, the GOP is playing total election theater.
Oh, the Save America Act? I saw a TikTok about this. They're basically trying to make it impossible to vote if you don't have a passport or a birth certificate in your hand right now.
It's performative masturbation, Maya. They know they don't have the votes to pass it in the Senate. John Thune is just doing this marathon debate to force Democrats to vote against it so they can use it in 2026 midterm ads. They're calling it voter eligibility, but the Brennan Center says it could disenfranchise 21 million people.
21 million. That's literally the population of Florida. It targets students, low-income voters, and married women who changed their names. It's a total flop era for democracy. They're spending all this energy on election integrity theater while the actual economy is, well, let's talk about housing.
The housing bill. This is the most Twilight Zone thing I've seen all year. We have Elizabeth Warren, the darling of the left, and Tim Scott, the GOP's go-to guy, actually agreeing on something, the Road to Housing Act.
It's a rare crossover event. They're basically trying to ban Wall Street landlords from buying up all the single-family homes. Even Trump said homes are for people, not corporations, at a rally recently.
Right?
But the House GOP, led by Steve Scalise, is basically trying to kill it. They're adding poison pills like bank deregulation. And, get this, a permanent ban on digital currency. Like, what does crypto have to do with my rent being $3,000?
It's a protection racket. The House GOP is defying Trump and the Senate just to protect the big banks and the institutional landlords who fund their campaigns. It's legislative constipation at its finest. They have a bipartisan bill that would actually help people, and they're stalling it because it doesn't help the godlike investors.
It's honestly so cringe. They're holding our housing security hostage for what? To protect the right of a hedge fund to buy my entire neighborhood? Bet.
It's economic edging, Maya. They give you a little hope and then pull it away at the last second. But look, we have to get to the big one. This is the main story for a reason, and it's genuinely terrifying.
You're talking about the prime deportation model.
Yes. We are 15 months into this administration, and the largest deportation operation in history has shifted from campaign slogans into a high-speed industrial reality. It's not just about who's undocumented anymore. It's about stripping status from people who were here legally yesterday.
No, literally. The Texas purge is the most villain arc thing I've seen. Texas has canceled over 6,400 commercial driver's licenses, CDLs, for asylum seekers and DACA recipients since November. These are people who were driving trucks, moving the food and the medicine we need.
They're purging the logistics industry. One of the guys, Essakon Nick Mohammed, he was a combat interpreter for the U.S. Army in Afghanistan. He served us. He came here legally. He was a truck driver, and they revoked his license overnight without notice.
It's a war on labor masked as public safety. Secretary Sean Duffy is ramping up English language requirements at way stations too. The DOT thinks they could remove 1,000 drivers from the road during a supply chain crisis. It's giving intentional economic sabotage.
It is sabotage. And look at the warehouses. We're hearing reports about this $38 billion plan to re-engineer American warehouses into mass detention centers. They're taking the Amazon Prime model of logistics and applying it to human beings.
It's high-key dystopian. I saw a clip of a protest at one of these warehouses in New Jersey. They're basically turning our suburban industrial parks into black sites. It's not just separation anymore. It's an industrial cleansing of the labor force.
And the cost. I'm not just talking about the money. The $38 billion is a hell of a lot of healthcare and school lunches, but I'm talking about the human cost. Record-breaking in-custody deaths. Economic contraction in states that are doing this. We're literally burning down our own economy just to satisfy a xenophobic fever dream.
It's the unaliving of democracy era. If you're a trucker, you're an enemy. If you're an asylum seeker, you're a data point. If you're a first grader with a drawing, well, you're a threat to school safety. It's all one big authoritarian stack.
It's what I've been saying. They don't want to govern. They want to manage a collapse. They want a silenced guy and a submissive labor force. Look, Mitch just knocked over my coffee. That's probably the most honest feedback I'm going to get today.
Honestly, Mitch for president. He has better vibes than the current options. Okay, we've covered a lot, from the Ninth Circuit standing up for 7-year-olds to the literal purge of the American trucker.
It's a lot to process, but here's the closing thought. We have a choice. We can either accept the space junk future where everything is trash and everyone is a target, or we can actually, fight for the first grader with the yellow crayon.
Facts. It's about solidarity, whether it's housing, voting rights, or not letting the government turn our warehouses into prisons. Stay online, stay loud, and for the love of God, don't let anyone take your crayons.
Well said. I'm going to go save what's left of my Starlink cable.
Catch you guys tomorrow. Like, subscribe, and check out the Patreon. Peace.